This is a guide to replace textures in Pathologic and Pathologic Classic HD. If you've already unpacked the original textures, or already know which file you wish to change, you can skip ahead to Chapter 2. First off, you'll want to extract the game's textures. The easiest way to do this is with More Converter, the graphical interface. This interface is in Russian, and when I run it on my English computer, it does this. However, you can navigate it without text. Click the left button to select the path to your Pathologic installation, and Data, and select Textures.vfs. This will unpack all textures into a folder called Textures in your Pathologic/Data directory. Be aware, this will overwrite any files of the same name already there. Be sure not to extract when you already have mods installed, as they will be lost forever. A more versatile extractor is Some Video Guy's Pathologic tool, a program requiring Python which can also parse stored dialogue. Links to both programs are in the video description. In short, Pathologic normally stores files in large archives, but it will give loading priority to files outside these archives, so don't worry about repacking anything later. For game performance reasons, you should move all the newly extracted files somewhere else. This will also make it easier to manage your installed mods. Textures in Pathologic are stored as DDS, or Direct Draw Surface, files with the unusual extension .tex. Different compression levels are used for different textures, DXT1, DXT3, and DXT5, but these actually don't really matter for modding. You just need image editing software that's capable of reading and exporting DDS. None of the options are ideal. I use Paint.net because it's fast, free, and has a great export interface for DDS. However, it's not very intuitive or precise for editing. GIMP is powerful, also free, and my favorite for actually editing images. However, it's slow to open DDS files and can only export with the .tds extension, requiring you to rename your textures to .tex manually. Photoshop doesn't have native DDS support, but there's a plugin/standalone program from NVIDIA which adds it. I haven't used this myself, but it looks like you need to make an NVIDIA developer account to download it. If you know a better image editing solution, leave a comment. Next, find the texture you want to change. I've actually renamed the ones in this folder to end in DDS instead of text, so that their thumbnails show up when browsing. File names are transliterated from the original Russian and are mostly well organized. Generic NPCs have only one texture for their whole model, but characters with facial animations have separate ones for body, head, and hair, and there are some unused duplicates. There are two versions of each file. The kind ending in LQ is used on low graphical settings, which most modern players will never see. File names can be inconsistent. For example, the Haruspex's body texture is called Bura Body, but his head is stored under his development name, Patriciatel. Check the video description for a directory of NPC-related texture names. For this tutorial, I'll make a slight edit to the Bachelor's head texture, Baccalaureate Head DXT3. After making changes, save as the image, and make sure the extension is .tex. If you're asked to export with bitmaps, you can ignore it. They don't do anything. If you used layers while editing, you must merge them. DDS will treat the topmost layer as the only part of the texture, resulting in issues. Place the edited file in your Pathologic directory /data/textures. If this folder doesn't already exist, create it. Upon launching the game, your new texture should be there.
Should I just give up?
We used to think that restarting the game was required to install texture mods. However, it turns out the tltext command can do it on the fly. Make sure you have the console enabled first. After running tltext filename.text, you only need to reload the scene, like by entering and exiting a building or reloading a save, to see your new texture. And that's how to make a texture mod. A lot of the game's user interface including character portraits and inventory items, are stored as uncompressed.pngs in the textures/UI subfolder. Same process works to replace these. Just skip the DDS specific parts and place your edited PNGs in data/textures/UI instead. To use TL text with these, you do have to type out UI/ before the texture name. Texture resolution is variable. As long as you keep the same aspect ratio, upscaling and downscaling pathologic textures works fine. In fact, the game won't crash if you use a different aspect ratio. Most of the time, the unexpected shape will be scaled to fit the original. If the game expects a square, it'll resize your image to a square. However, sometimes this kind of thing will result in gray visual gaps. We don't know exactly how transparency works. In textures that were already transparent, like these leaves on the ground, you can edit the transparent content and it'll work fine. In textures that don't have transparency by default, transparent pixels will appear solid black. This may have something to do with the compression formats used for each. If anything new comes to light, it'll be in the pinned comments below. Lastly, the Nexus. nexusmods.com/pathologicclassichd currently has the most active pathologic modding community. I'd love to see this community grow, so I encourage you to publish your projects there. At the moment, texture mods like this are distributed by simply uploading a folder of the edited files. If you have any other questions, please comment below or contact me. I'm Pathologic on most platforms. Thank you and happy modding.